What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be comparing and contrasting some of Jerry Rice's route running film to some of the top route runners in today's NFL. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and would like a daily gym and daily on-field workout schedule to follow, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. What you'll get access to is 500 plus wide receiver drills and gym exercises, all given with sets and reps for you to follow on a day-to-day basis. So check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. So now, the common question that everybody loves to throw around there is obviously Jerry Rice is considered the greatest wide receiver of all time. Would his routes, would the moves that he used, would his speed fly in today's NFL versus a more talented DB crew and a more talented just game overall and a faster game? And I think the answer is yes. And that's what we're going to be trying to showcase in this video with the different moves that he uses and comparing that to obviously the top NFL wide receivers doing that. So let's play this full speed one time, this first clip. So this is Jerry Rice using a peek back move, and he is running a comeback route or an out route. It kind of looks a little bit more like an out route at first, but this peek back move is a move that you see so many top tier wide receivers use. So again, a peek back is obviously going to get a DB who's not as great of an athlete, maybe not as talented, but what is it going to do versus the NFL talent we have today? And that's what Davante Adams is going to showcase right here. So this is a goal line situation. He is going to be running a slant route, right? So when you have an inside shade coverage DB, inside leverage, and you have to run a slant, you do not want to try to attack the DB inside and then cut in front of him and try to run the slant, forcing it, right? You want to try to make this DB think that you're running a fade, so he opens up his hips and runs, and you can slip back underneath him and win on the slant. It maintains spacing and maintain timing on the play. So when you're on the goal line, a peek back is a great move to use on this, very similar to the peek back that Jerry Rice used. So let's play this full speed. So he comes off the ball, peeks back, selling fade, gets that DB to open up his hips, and he's able to win easy money on this slant. So it's the same idea, right? He's got to run that out route, same thing that Jerry Rice did. He attacks the DB inside, outside release, he peeks back, and then breaks it right off. Again, a peek back is a great move that'll work in the past NFL and works in today's NFL. And that's why I think Jerry Rice's routes could absolutely hang with today's DBs because it's calculated. Route running is not necessarily about who's the fastest, right? Because when you get to this level that they're playing at, like Davante Adams probably isn't one of the faster receivers either. And like, who's another example? Cooper Kupp, he didn't run the greatest 40 time, but all those guys are able to get separation and able to get open because they're calculated. They know how to run routes. They know how to use certain moves on routes, but they also know the mechanics behind it. So let's play this full speed, and then we'll get to another Jerry Rice route and compare it to another wide receiver of the modern days route. So this is going to be a stop route from Rice. So he's pretty much pushing vertical, gives a little vertical set inside, pushes up and just puts the brakes on, drops his hips on a dime, which is something you hear a lot of wide receiver coaches nowadays. A lot of wide receivers are able to do this. Like you see this a lot. Let's put it that way. So let's watch this full speed. So he comes off here, gives a move, sits this thing right on down and drops his hips. So on any route, regardless of the time that you're playing, regardless of your age, you were trying to make the DB think that you're running what? You're running a fade. So you have to be able to run full speed. You have to be able to maintain your stride while you run, and you've got to maintain your body language because we're trying to get this guy to bail out of there and think that we are going deep. So when you get to that break point, you have to be able to change direction. And when you get to that break point, you have to drop violently. You have to sit into a chair quickly. You have to sit your butt down fast. You have to try to touch your chin to your knee because when you can get to this position, you can decelerate while running full speed. It's not even necessarily about running faster than the DB. It's just about making that DB believe you're going vertical and throttling yourself down. So what does that look a lot like? Now, this is an example of Tank Dell, who is arguably probably, now that he's in the NFL, one of the best wide receivers when it comes to route running, in the NFL. One of the most twitchiest, best change of direction that you could see. I compare him to a lot of Jerry Jeudy's film. Like, nobody's like Jerry Jeudy, but he is very, very close in terms of how he runs his routes. And again, this is kind of like that new era wide receiver that everybody loves to compare to. The NFL is constantly changing. The talent keeps going up. But there's a lot of similarities in this route with Jerry Rice's route, if I'm just being honest. So let's play this full speed. So he comes off the ball, running full speed, drops on a dime. Now, what's the technique behind this, right? It's the exact same technique that Jerry Rice had at his break, and that shows you how ahead of his time he was in terms of the way he ran routes, in the terms of way he made cuts, and just the way he made DBs look foolish. He was way ahead of his time because there wasn't a lot of guys moving like that at that time. Now it seems like every single year coming out of the draft, you got wide receivers who can move like this, right? So let's look at him at the break point. So he gets to the break point. What does he do to stop down? He sits his butt down, right? He sits down. It's like he's playing musical chairs. The music stops. You sit down quickly. He's bringing that chin to his knee. He's stopping himself. He's running full speed, full stride, but he's got a violent level change so he can get in and out of this break on a dime, which is what gets him separation, very similar to the last clip we saw of Jerry Rice. So, fellas, again, I think his routes will 100% work in today's NFL. I think if you can, and again, what's the purpose of this video? Yes, the purpose is to do a comparison, and it's a fun comparison. It's a fun conversation to have because there are a lot of people out there that believe that his routes would not, and he would not be as successful if he played in today's NFL. And definitely the athletes are a lot better. Everybody's a lot faster, but I do this to show you guys like there's many different ways to run routes, but like the things that we discuss, the examples that we show, like it has been working for a long dang time. So if you're hesitant on a certain skill, you're hesitant on a certain move, well, I don't know this. You got a greatest wide receiver of all time doing it, and you have modern day wide receivers doing it. That is something that you should try to apply to your game. You should never try to copy anybody's game as a whole, copy anybody's route tree, you know, how they run certain things, but you could pick up bits and pieces and add that to your game and get yourself a whole hell of a lot better. So let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Tank Dell, pushing vertical and then being able to throttle down on a dime, making that route look very, very similar to the route we watched before. Okay, so now, next example here is going to be a double move route from Jerry Rice. So anytime he's going to be running like this post out, if you will. So anytime that you're running a double move, it is very important that the first move of that double move looks exactly like the first move, right? You have to run it. You have to make it look like a post. And so to make it look like a post, you got to do three specific things. Number one, you have to have speed. Number two, you got to maintain your stride. And number three, you got to maintain your body language. So you see when he breaks to this post, this is like a 5-step post break. It's here, or like 5 steps selling the post. Usually it's only 3, but he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the 5th step, that's when he drops his hips. He's got that violent drop that we were just talking about. But leading into that violent drop, you see what he has there, right? He's got all kinds of, he breaks to the post, he's got speed, his hips and shoulders are committed to the post, and he's got his stride. He doesn't change up his stride. So many wide receivers, what they'll do against DBs when they run that double move is they'll start to chop their feet before the break, which is an indicator. You're letting the DB know, hey, I'm about to make a break. I'm slowing myself down. We cannot do that. That is textbook right there by Jerry Rice, getting in and out of this break and selling that post. So to sell a double move, fellas, 3 things: speed, stride, and body language. And that remains the same for every single level of football and every single era of football, if you will. So let's look at Julio Jones run this post out, right? And it's pretty much the exact same thing, just a little bit shorter. So he breaks to the post, but again, commits his hips and shoulders. He's got some speed, and he's running in full stride. He's breaking this post off at the bottom of the numbers, and you see how he ends up cutting almost like a little bit past the top of the numbers, right? That tells you that he's actually moving. He's actually going down the post. He's maintaining his stride. If he was taking choppy steps, he wouldn't have gone anywhere, especially this far downfield. Now, number 2, when he breaks to the post, you see how there's no change in speed. If anything, he gets more speed to try to get that DB to crash down. Those are the keys to selling a double move. And then again, last but not least, he breaks his hips, his shoulders, his eyes, everything are to the inside, body language, which is what sells this route completely to that DB. So again, fellas, when you look at all these comparisons of these routes, you look at Jerry Rice's routes compared to a modern day wide receiver's routes, there are a lot of similarities. And those similarities is what you should be trying to add to your game because it's proven. It's time tested. It has worked from the time football was just, in days of Jerry Rice and the days of now, all these techniques are working, and that's what you should try to pick up and add to your game. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like an 8-week wide receiver gym and field workout schedule, everything wide receivers should be doing in the gym and on the field, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you guys on that. I'll see you guys next time.